All right, so here we go. I don't know what we can do in half an hour. We'll do what we can. So, number one, how do you do it? Well, 10z squared plus 11z minus 6. Well, the first thing I would do on these things, I'd look down and I'd say, hey, is there any like number factored in front of any of these? Like right here in the front, is there any numbers factored in the front? No. So there's no GCF here, right? Just look at the options. There's no GCF. Use that to your advantage.
Well, it could be none though, right?
That's true. Could be none. There's always that none of the above to keep you honest, right? But probably if there's none of them having numbers in the front, there's no GCF. So let's do FOIL. Front times front to be front. What times what is 10? 5z, 2z, right? 5 times 2 is 10, or 2 times 5. The order on the first two doesn't matter, but the order on the back two will. I just teach guess and check for FOIL. You've seen it before, I'm sure. Roberto knows there's lots of other ways. But and he'll show you if you really desire another way. The day before the test, probably not the best plan, but he's got them if you want other ways. So, all right. So, but he can show you my way too. So now, so front times front to be front, last times last to be 6. What times what makes 6? 2 times 3. Don't worry about the negative. Remember, we do the signs of it. 2 times 3. Now, can I put the 2 here with the other 2? No, never going to be two numbers in the same parenthesis with anything in common because we get all the commonness out on step 1. It can't show up later. So, no, the 2 can't be there. So it'd have to be 2 and 3 like that. So, is that right? Well, how do we know? We got to check the middle, the OI, right? The OI, which means outer with outer, inner with inner. That's what it stands for. The 2 happy face arcs. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 times 3 is 15. Can they make the middle, which is plus 11? Yeah, the sign on the middle goes on the bigger, always, right? Sign on the middle goes on the bigger. So plus 15, just ask yourself, how do you make plus 11? Plus 15 minus 4 makes plus 11, huh? Remember? And now remember, how do they get back up in the parentheses? How do these, because it's always the bigger down here. Now, how do the signs get up in the parentheses? The top one just bubbles up, like a, whatever, I don't know, something in the water, bubbling up. Blah, 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 straight up, right? Just goes, let the top one just float straight up. Whatever sign's on the top one goes straight up. The bottom one goes to the back always. There we go. So is that's option what? That's A. See, A is the same thing, just opposite order. Same thing. There it is. A. Let's move on with number 2. If you're okay with that, I'll rapidly move on to number 2. Number 2. So 2 is 3m squared plus 19m plus 20. Any number factored in the front of anybody? No, there's no number in the front, so just do the FOIL, dive right in, 2 parentheses, front times front, 3m times m. Last times last to be 20, 5 and 4. But what if I do it wrong like that? That's the wrong order. We'll see why, right? 5 times 4 is 20. Try the OI, the 2 happy face arcs, get the 19. That'd be 5, that'd be 12. How can they make plus 19? They can't. 5 and 12 can't. So what do? Give up? It's none of the above? It's prime? Try switching the order on the back too. Always try that first. Put the 4 over here, the 5 over there, right? Try it again. Now the 2 inner make 4, the 2 outer make 15. That's better. So what signs do you need? Well, both plus. Everything's plus on this one. There we go. What answers that? I don't know. M plus 5, 3m plus D. Yep, there it is. Good. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3. So bring that down here. K to the 5th, P to the 6th, plus K to the 8th, P to the 4th. All right. That one is kind of weird looking. Yeah. Oops, let me erase this. So, looking over there at those options. So, yeah, you're supposed to look and say, remember, what's the first step on every factor? What am I looking for first every time? G, C, F. He's first. Always look for him, right? So, is there something, excuse me, in common with those two? Absolutely. So, what do? You take lowest power of K, lowest power of P. Remember, it's always lowest, because that's the most they both have. is the lower amount. If I have 3/4 and Melody has 4/4, we both have 3, right? The most we have in common is the lower among us, right? So if you look at both of them, this one has 5 Ks, this one has 8 Ks. What's the most in common? 5, right? And then p to the 4th, parenthesis. So they both have 5 Ks, they both have 4 Ps. Some have more. Put in parentheses. Now, whatever works, right? I'm kind of running out of room here. Let me squeeze it over. So I'm going to put in the front again. K to the 5th, P to the 4th, parenthesis. What goes on the inside? Multiply and multiply. So what goes here? Well, P squared, so the 4 and 2 will make 6. You've already got the K's you need. And what will go over here? K squared, so the 5 and the 2 will make, no, 3, huh? 3, whoops, I'm off. 3. So the 5 and the 3 will make 8, and you've already got the P's you need. Good? That's D, isn't it? Now, they put extra parentheses around this. That's fine. It's optional. Doesn't matter. Did that throw you? Those extra parentheses or anything? Is that okay? Anything I can say to help with that one?
Yeah, it's not A.
Yep, it's not A.
For some dumb reason, I was looking at it as a 4-term, not 2.
Oh, a
I was
4-term.
looking at
Yeah,
the
and you know what it is? The
plus.
pluses and minuses are the separators. The
Yeah.
loose horses, yeah. Real, I'm
And
glad you brought that
I
up.
know that.
Yeah.
I still looked at it and thought.
Gotcha.
It was
Yeah,
4.
so
watch for that.
Melody's right. Remember, the pluses and minuses are the separators. So this is really just a 2-termer GCF. What's in common, right? Not a 4-termer. Right? Pluses and minuses are the separators. All right, good. Let's keep moving. It's good. It's why we do these practice exams. So you need to see the little stuff that's getting you. All right, let's try this one. Bring it up here. Got 3x squared minus 3x minus 18. Now, look in the front here. You see any number? Remember, I'm always looking GCF, right? GCF first. Look at the fronts. Do you see any like numbers they put in the front? Ah, I see a couple of 3s. I'm thinking, I bet you 3. Now, does that mean, here's what I see a lot in the test. I see people go, oh yeah, 3, they'll be smart, they'll see that. And then they'll try to go right to the 2 parentheses. No, remember, GCF, you got to do the 1 big parenthesis first because the numbers will change. Then the 2, right? So you got to do the 1 first. Then on the next line, we'll have the 2. It's a 2-stepper, right? So first off, take the 3 out. Boom, boom, boom to go back to boom, boom, boom. That'd be x squared minus x minus 6. Right? Because that works, doesn't it? 3 times x squared, 3 times x, 3 times 6, right? It's all good. Now we go from there. Now we do FOIL, because we got 3 terms, front times front. Last times last to be 6. 3 and 2, 2 and 3. Sign in the middle is minus 1. Sign in the middle, always taken by the bigger. Minus 3 plus 2. It's minus 1 in the middle. It multiplies to be negative 6. Adds to be negative 1. There it is. So what's that one? Is it D again? X plus 2. Yeah, it's D. It's just a different order than we have, huh? There it is. Good? So far, so good? GCF first. Keep moving. All right. Okay, so number 5. A squared, B squared, minus 6/4. How many terms are we looking at there, Melanie?
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm skipping. Number 5.
4.
Number 5?
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 terms, huh?
It's not going to mess me up again.
All right, never again. I like to hear that. Yeah. So there's just 1 separator there, huh? 2 terms. Joel.
Is that the difference of 2 squares?
There it is, as you've named it today. The difference of squares, right? Yeah, because for 2 terms, well, for everything we look for GCF. Everything we first say, hey, is there any number in the front? No, there's no GCF. All right, then we go on, and what do we do if there's no GCF? Because a minute ago, here, look back at this one. We had 2 terms, well, I did it back here. Here we had 2 terms, and I did GCF. Because that's always first, and that's all there was to do on that problem, right? But on this one, there's no GCF. There's nothing in the front. So I'm not going to do GCF. What am I going to do? Well, what else do you... After GCF, what do you do for 2 terms? FL, or difference of squares, whatever you want to call it. It's just the oi is missing in the FOIL, so I call it FL. The official name is difference of squares. Yeah, it means you just do two parentheses. Front times front to be front. What times what is a squared b squared? A1, B1, A1. You don't need the ones, but just for extra clarity, because the powers would add and go back. And last times last to be last. What times what, 64? 8 and 8. How do you get a negative 64? One positive, one negative, either order. Done. Right? Just an FL. Because there was no GCF. Always we look for GCF first. So is that A? There's A. Onward and upward. Number 6. Let's do that one. Oops, I can't see it now. That is it. Okay. 12x squared plus 13xt. Wish they wouldn't use t's. All right. Now, first step on, is there any GCF? Is there any number they pull into the front? Nah, there's no GCF. So just, what do you do? So just dive right in. Forget about GCF. What are you going to do for 3 terms? 2 parentheses. We're thinking FOIL. That's all we ever do for 2 terms we do FL, 3 terms we do FOIL, right? All right, front times front to be 12x squared. Now we could try 6 and 2 or 12 and 1, but it's usually the numbers closer together. So 4 and 3 is a good way to start. If that doesn't work, I can always go back to 2, 6 or 12, 1. All right, 4 times 3 is probably it. Okay, that's for the front. Now, what about the last? I need last times last to be last. Yeah, 3t, 1t. Now, could I put the 3t here? No, not going to have 2 numbers in the same parentheses that have anything in common because you got all the commonness out. Well, there was no commonness in step 1. So it can't be there. So the 3's got to be over here and the regular t there, doesn't it? So there's nothing in common in the parentheses. Let's check. How do we know if it's right? Check the oi. The 2 inner, the 2 outer, the happy face arcs. The 2 inner is 9, the 2 outer is 4. Can 9 and 4 make plus 13? Sure they can. Both plus. Both plus. Done. So what's the answer? Is it A? There it is. Good. We rolling? Questions? Okay. Number 7 it is. So the number 7. It says solve. Notice there's answers. So you know how to do these kind, right? Oops. I didn't write it right. 5x plus 15, is that right? Yeah. Equals 0? Yeah. Okay, so what do we do when you have the equal sign with the 0? What do we do?
You know that x is a 0.
Yeah, each one gets its own 0. So that part and this part, that's from, I'm thinking of 2 numbers, they multiply together to be 0. So either one can be 0 to make that true, huh? This one's done. How do we solve the other one? Here's the wall. X is in and won't be alone. Subtract the 15. 5x is minus 15 divided by the 5. X is minus 3. So there's our 2 answers. 0 minus 3, where is that? Oh, it's not there. It's disturbing.
They try to trick us with the first one.
It's none of the above. There it is.
See,
Yeah.
I waste time.
Visible answer.
I got that, but then I waste time looking at that first one that's got just the
It's close.
regular 3.
Yeah, 0,
I think,
3. And you
I
think,
did
oh, did I
something
mess up
wrong.
the sign? How could you check? How could you check? Plug it in. If you think, well, maybe it really is regular. Right? Everybody with me on that? If you were thinking like Melody, if you were disturbed, which is natural. I mean, this is disturbing. It would for me too. To get a none of the above. Uh-oh. Am I messing it up? What am I doing? Right? When I got my master's degree at Cal Poly in math, they had us take a super hard test. It was like an entrance test, but basically to get into the program officially. But anyway, long story short, really hard. They'd offer it on a Saturday for 2 hours. All of us grad students would come, all the math grad students would come and take it at Cal Poly on a Saturday. It'd be a 2-hour test. They'd put you in a special room, take it. It was off your hardest classes from your undergraduate. Anyway, long story short, it was really hard, and I failed it the first time. Didn't pass it. And they made a rule starting my year. They made a rule that you can take the test 2 times ever in your life. If you fail it twice, you may never get a master's degree in math at Cal Poly. They made that new rule, like ever. 2 shots, bye-bye. I failed it the first time. So I remember thinking, shoot. I almost passed it, but I didn't quite pass it the first time. All of us, I think all of us failed. I don't think anybody passed it that first time. It's hard. And so I had 3 months. They only offered it every 3 months. So I had 3 months to study and take a new version of it, so I studied hard. And anyway, long story short, I took it the second time, came in on a Saturday, and this was it. If I fail it this time, go away. Bye-bye. You may never get a master's degree. I already have my bachelor's, but I didn't have my master's. So, and I went and took that thing, and I was cranking. I was about halfway through, or maybe about an hour and a half, about an hour into it. So I'm talking about this problem. The answers were coming out right. The numbers were clean. I could just tell. It wasn't multiple choice. It was actually only 5 questions, but they were big. They were like page questions. Anyway, but they were coming out clean. I could just tell they were clean, kind of like I'm saying with the none of the above. It wasn't disturbing. They were clean. And I was like, oh, I'm getting them right. They're coming out clean. I remember taking a bathroom break about halfway through thinking, I'm going to pass. I'm going to get a master's degree. I can't believe I'm going to make it. So I just knew it, whereas this is disturbing, this none of the above, huh? It's disturbing. So we come on back and we say, so what if you're looking, you're thinking, shoot, am I getting this right? Am I not? That 3 looks tempting. How could you figure out in the middle of the test if you're right or wrong? Take that 3 and plug it in. Yeah, put that 3 here, put that 3 there. See if it's right. 3 times, what's 5 times 3? 15 plus 15 is 30, right? You okay with all that? I'm scribbling. That's 90. That's not 0. 3's not right. Don't bite that hook, right? We're doing the fishing thing here, Joel. That's not right. 3's not right. Is negative? Am I right with negative 3? Let me put in negative 3. Is that right? Let me see. This would be what? What's 5 times negative 3? Negative 15 plus 15? 0. Times negative 3. Yeah, I'm right. It's negative 3. All right. With confidence, it's none of the above. I know it. Right? You can be sure. You can be sure. That takes a little bit of time. You got to be careful with your time. But yeah, so you're sure it's none of the above. All right, let's keep moving. All right. Let's try number 8 here. So now number 8, they've got it out of order, don't they? They got it out of order. So let's rearrange those. Let's put the s squared first, 7s, and then the 10 at the back. Okay, so you don't have to arrange them. I think it'll make it easier. And then any GCF? Always look for GCF first. Any GCF? No. Just go right into the FOIL. 2 parentheses, S is in the front. 5 times 2 is 10. That's the easy one, huh? Both plus, that's 7. We got it. Whatever answer that is. I can't tell. It's C. They just have them reversed. That's fine. C it is. Number 9, we good? So on to number 9 we go. That was 8. Number 9 is x squared minus 4x minus 21. So any GCF? No GCF. Go right into the FOIL. 2 parentheses, x is in the front. What multiplies to be 21? 7 and 3. Sign in the middle is always on the bigger, right? You can check the little minus 7 plus 3. That makes minus 4. It's all good. Good? On that one, whatever answer that is, I don't know. Is it B? B plus 3 minus, so yeah. I keep having them in the reverse order, huh? Almost without fail. Their answers are reverse order of mine. All right, so good on 9. Okay. And boom. Okay, so 10. Let's keep going. So number 10, bring it up here. What's that one? R. I can't see. My eyes are too old. R squared minus 16RS. Let's see better up there. Plus 63S squared. Okay. So, yeah. So, same thing, right? Any GCF? No, there's no number. So, jump into the FOIL. 2 parentheses. Front times front, R times R. Last times last to be 63. 7 and 9. So, and you got to have S's. Right, because there's S squared on the right, there'll be S in the right of each parenthesis. 7 times 9. Now, how about the middle? Well, inner, outer, the happy face arcs, the OI, the 2 inner make 7, the 2 outer make 9. You could do the RS or just skip it, whatever. You know it's there. And the middle's got to be minus 16. How can you take a 7 and a 9 and make minus 16? Both negative, right? If you lose $7 and lose $9, you lost $16. That's right. And they both go up. And double check, negative times negative is positive 63. Yeah, it's all good. There it is. What answer is that? Is that A?
Yeah.
I said my sign, yeah, good. And I had the reverse order again, always. All right, on to number 11. We okay with that? Am I flying over this too fast? Just want to try to get through them before we run out of time here. All right.
Mr. Harris?
Yeah.
You do one of the word problems with
Yeah, I'm hoping we'll get there. Is it looking like we're not? Are you nervous we're not, Joel? I'm nervous too. Let me see. 15m squared minus 9m equals 0. Okay. This one's got a bunch of answers, right? Like this and this and this. So notice it's one of those where we got to solve. What do you do when you have an equal sign? Get a 0. We got a 0. And then what? GCF, yeah. Got a factor, right? Got a factor. How do you factor? What's the GCF? 3 and m. Everybody good with that? 3 and m. Okay, so 3m times what? 5m. 3m times minus 3 equals 0. Good so far. Now what? This part and this part each get their own 0. Remember the logic? If two things are timesing to be 0, either one could be 0 to make them multiply and be 0. Right? So the 3m could be 0, or the 5m minus 3 could be 0, right? Now how do you finish solving this one? Do I subtract 3? No, I divide. Because that's multiply. 3 times m. Right? And what's 0 on the top of a fraction is just 0. This one, you add 3 to both sides. And 5m equals 3. Divide by 5. So 3/5 and 0. There it is. Answer C?
Yes.
3/5 and 0. And you could check them. You can always check those answer ones, but you probably don't got time for that right now. Let's move on. We good there? It's number 10. Oh, it's number 11. Wasn't it number 11? So let's move on. Okay, number 12. Bring it down here. 12, it's 3h. 3h minus 8 is minus 16. Well, basically, I want to distribute this right now because I don't have a 0 yet. So multiply that. 3h times 3h is 9h squared, right? The 1 powers add. Minus 24h is minus 16. So I just distributed. Now, when you see h squared or x squared or whatever with an equal sign, what's step number 1? Get a 0. Step 2, factor with the parentheses. Step 3, each one gets their own 0. Right? Remember those 3 steps? You put those on your 3x5 card, be good to have. Whenever you see x squared or any letter squared with an equal sign, get a 0, factor, each one gets their own 0. Right? That's what I basically did in the last problems, except they already gave me the 0. This one's harder because they don't already give me the 0. So you've got to intentionally remember that before you begin to factor, you've got to get a 0 over there. Remember, 0 is absolutely important to the logic. If two things multiply to be 0, either one could be 0. Doesn't work for other numbers. Okay, so to get 0, we add 16 to both sides. Gonzo. So what do we got then? We've got 9h squared minus 24h plus 16 equals 0. Because I had to do the opposite sign, plus 16, right? Is that good to there? Okay, now so that's step 1, get a 0. Step 2, factor. So how do you factor that? FOIL. Front times front, 3h to make 9h squared. Last times last to be 16. What times what's 16? 4 and 4. Okay. Now, how do you make the middle minus 24h? The oi, the 2 inner, the 2 outer. What's that? 12 and 12. And how do they make minus 24? Both negative. Good. And they do multiply to be plus 16, don't they? It'd be that backward. 2 negatives multiplied by plus 16. We good so far? It's a messy one, huh? That's all step 2. What's step 3? They each get their own 0 now. So now I'll come over here. I'll say 3h minus 4 gets its own. They're going to be the same thing twice, aren't they? So I'm not going to do it twice. It's going to be the same exact answer twice. So it's really just one answer. Everybody see where I'm at? I'm on step 3. So step 1, when you see h squared with an equals, you say get a 0. Make this 0 over here. So I added 16 to make that go away and be 0. Then I factor. And then I said, okay, now each one gets their own 0 because if two things multiply to be 0, either one can be 0. Well, they're the same thing twice. So I only need to do it once. If those were two different things, then I would have two equal 0 equations, right? So just do this one once. Add 4. 3h is 4. Divide by 3. 4/3 is the only answer. 4/3. Oh, it's not there. And they're trying to trick me with the 3/4, aren't they? It's none of the above. Dastardly. That okay? We good? On that one? That okay? Practice that one. Okay. 13, that's a GCFer. So 27 s to the 4th t squared plus 9 s squared t cubed. Okay, so you look at these two and you say, okay, first thing is always GCF. What do they both have in common? What goes into 9 and 27? 9. What's the lower power on s? And the lower power on t? T squared. Put your parentheses. Put in there whatever works. So 9 s squared t squared times what? We'll go back to 27. 3 s squared, because the 2 and the 2 will add to be 4. And then 9 times just, all we need is a t. Yeah, t to the 1, and the t to the 2 will make t to the 3. It's got the rest of the stuff already. So there it is. 3s squared plus t. Is it A? A it is. Let's go on to 14. So 14, 60, this is weird looking. M to the 7th minus 72, m to the 5th minus 108, m to the 3rd. Okay, look here, GCFs, yeah, There's some GCF action going on. They have some stuff in front of the parentheses, don't they? Pretty much as you look at them, take the greatest common, right? It's greatest common factor, right? Which one looks like it has the greatest amount of stuff in the front? 12m cubed. That's more than just 12, right? This one has just, B has just the 12, C has just the m cubed. A's got it. Probably A is the answer. You can almost tell right now. A has the whole 12m cubed in the front. That's got to be it. If you're running out of time, bubble A and go on. I bet it's A. It might be none though, right, Alex? So you never know, but it's probably A, because that's got the greatest amount in the front. See how predictable these publisher test bank questions are sometimes, right? 12 times what? Use calculator. 5 would be m to the 4th. 12 times, was that 6 m squared? 12 times, is that 9? Yeah. 9, just 9, yeah. And that's it. There we go, it is A. Yeah, see, that would have worked. Good there. Flash off of that, we okay? 16. All right, so 16 is x minus 3y squared minus 100. Any GCFs? No, there's no GCFs. So how many terms are we looking at there? Just 2. 1 and a 2. Remember, pluses and minuses outside of parentheses. Loose horses, not corralled, right, are the separators. That's the only separator. 2 terms, right? FL is all we ever do for 2 terms. 3 terms it's FOIL, 2 terms it's FL. So that's FL. So it's just got to be 2 parentheses, front. So x minus 3y, x minus 3y. What times what's 100? 10 and 10. How do you make negative 100? 1 positive, 1 negative. Done. Number 17. Number 17, so that was 16. 17 is 2x cubed plus 2x squared minus 40x. Any GCF on 17? Yeah, look, take the most, huh? 2x. So I bet it's A or D right away, or it could be none of the above. Probably A, D, or E. I'm not going to go with B or C. It's got to be, right? Already we're eliminating possibilities. 2x in the front. 2x times what? X squared. 2x times what? X, and 2x times minus 20 would go back to minus 40x. Good to there? So far, so good? Now, let's finish it up. 2 parentheses, x is in the front. What multiplies to be 20 adds to be plus 1? 5 and 4 makes 20. How do you get sign in the middle? goes on the bigger. Plus 5, whoop, not plus 4. Plus 5 minus 4 will make plus 1 in the middle and multiply to be negative 20. So what was it? Was it A? No. D? D, looks like it's D. Different order, always different order than I have. There we go. Good on that. Okay, keep moving. Okay, 18. Oh, yeah, GCF. So as you look at this, and this, they want you to do GCF. Well, what 4, 8, and 12? What goes into 4, 8, and 12? 4. And then what do you do for the powers? Take the lowest x, lowest y, lowest z. What's the lowest x? X2. What's the lowest y? Y2. What's the lowest z? Z4, right? X2. Is it A? 2y2 z4. Yeah, A. That good? GCF. 19. Factor. Yeah, so 19. We're looking at that one. Here, I'm going to move it up here. I'm running out of room. Come up here, number 19. So 16k to the third m minus 72k squared m squared plus 81km cubed. Okay, any GCFs? What are they taking to the front? KM. KM. See how that helps? Multiple choice is great. KM. All right, what does that leave? 16k squared, 72km plus 81m squared, huh? That good so far? See how I'm doing all that? Now, FOIL the rest. FOIL. So km in the front, 2 parentheses. Front times front, 4k, 4k to make 16. 81m squared, 9m, 9m. Right? Isn't that good? And then the 2 inner, the 2 outer, the happy face, 36, 36. How does that make minus 72? Both minus. That's identical twins. What do we do with identical twins? Squared. So that's one of their answers there. Which one is it? C? No, D. Oops. D. It's because it's minus, huh? D. Km in the front, 4k minus 9m squared. D? Good. You ready for the last? Okay, so 20. 25x squared plus 70xy plus 49y squared. Any GCF? Nah, no GCF. Jump right into FOIL. 3 terms. 2 parentheses. Front times front. 5x, 5x. 7y, 7y. To make 49 at the back, right? 2 inner, 35. 2 outer, happy face. How do they make plus 70? Both plus, both plus. Done. Let's see, right? 21. Just use your calculator. 21 is just your calculator. Just find out which ones divide, right? 5280. Try dividing by 2, 3, and 5. We had the shortcut rules, but I'm going to move on, if that's okay. Coming down to 22. So 22. So 22. So 15x squared minus 9xy minus 10x plus 6y. First 2, last 2. Yeah, I should say, for 4 terms, what do we do? First 2, last 2, huh? For 4 terms, it's always first 2, last 2. First 2, last 2. All right, 4 terms, first 2, last 2. What do the first 2 have in common? Just the first 2. What goes into 9 and 15? 3. What letters do they both have? X. What works? 3x times 5x, 3x times minus 3y, right? Minus 9xy, yeah. Good so far? Now on a 4-termer, a 2-2 split, what do you know about the parentheses on the first section? It's identical with the so I'm just going to right away say, oh, the other one must be 5x minus 3y with something in the front. They've got to match. On a 2-2 split, they're going to match. So what's in the front? What times 5 will be 10? 2. Yeah, negative 2. Huh? Negative 2 is negative 10. Negative times negative is positive 6y. It's right. See how they match? And once they match, you take the common match, remove it, put it out in the front. What's left? 3x minus 2. There it is. Is it A? Backwards. No, same. Hey, there's the one in the same order as mine. There it is, A. All right.
I actually got the same result, but I moved the position of 10x in front of the 9x.
Yeah, you can do it that way. You don't have to, though. Not required. 23. I'm going to get to your word problem, Jose. I'm almost there. 23. Minus 8. This one was 22, right? Minus 18x cubed minus 36x squared plus 27. What do they have? Look at the GCF. Is there any GCF? Look in the front there. Minus, what's the biggest amount? 18. Oh, that doesn't work though. You can try. You've tried 27 divided by 18, it won't work. So it's not actually not the 18. So it's minus 9 and x, huh? What works? This would be plus 2x squared. This would be plus 4x. This would be minus 3, huh? So there's that one, whatever answer that is. Is that it? A? Answer A. All right. 24. Already got that one copied down. 24. You can just tell 24, right? It's 1 plus 1 minus, is a B? 24B, right? 1 plus 1 minus. It's a FL, right? 25. Is that the last one, number 25? Find 3 consecutive integers such that the sum of the squares of the smaller 2 is equal to the square of the largest. Ooh. All right. Try that. Okay. So, 3 consecutive. Does it say consecutive even or odd? No, just consecutive. So that's x, x plus 1, and x plus 2. Only goes up by 1 every time for consecutive. Right? It's not if it said even or odd, I would add 2 every time. Plus 2, plus 4, plus 6, right? Because even and odd jump by 2 every time from number to number. But just consecutive goes up by 1 every time. All right, what does it say? The sum of the squares of the smaller 2. That means the first one plus the second one squared. The sum of the squares is equal to the square of the largest. The largest one squared. See what they're saying there? So that's a big pain. So let's work it out. X squared. Now, careful. Here's a really common mistake. People go x squared plus 1. Now, when a square is on a parenthesis, you can't just square it. You have to write 2 parentheses. You have to write x plus 1 like that. And over here, x plus 2. You have to write 2 and FOIL. Boom, boom. There's a lot of work here. X squared plus x, boom, boom. Plus x plus 1 over here. Over here, FOIL. X squared plus 2x, boom, boom. Plus 2x plus 4. Combine like terms, that's 2x squared plus 2x plus 1. That's x squared plus 4x plus 4. It's a hard problem. Look at all that mess. We good to there so far? So you just check on the answers and just square them. You could do that. That'd be easier. It would be easier on this one. Yeah, this is a big tip. Yeah, just check. I'll show in a second. Let's finish this up. So what in the you're looking at this big mess and you're thinking, I'm even going in the right direction. You are. What do you do now? What is the game plan when we've got x squared? You got to remember the game plan, right? In the middle of a mess, remember the game plan. What's step number 1? Get a 0. You should be thinking, I got x squared and I got an equal sign. I need a 0. Where? Just make the right side 0. How do you make it 0? Get rid of everything. Bye, 0. Whatever you do to one side, you have no choice but do the same thing to the other. To keep the balance. Right? See how I made there be 0 on that right side? By just doing the opposite of everybody? Gonzo, 0. Right? Now, on the other side, 2x squared minus 1x squared is just x squared. 2x, positive 2x minus 4x is minus 2x, plus 1 minus 4 is minus 3. See all that? It's looking a little better now. Now, that's step 1, get a 0. What's step 2? Factor. So can you factor that left side? I'm running out of room, so I'm just going to squeeze it in. You got to multiply to be 3, that's 3 times 1, and add to be negative 2. Sign in the middle? Sign on the bigger. Right? But the answers end up being the opposite sign of what's in the parentheses, remember? Remember, because now you set each one equal to 0. Like that, and so it ends up being positive 3 and negative 1, if that's okay, if I'm running out of time and space there. Positive 3, negative 1. They end up being opposite signs from the parentheses to the answer, don't they? So, is it positive or negative? What is it?
Positive.
That one, none of the above.
Oh, is it? Yeah, this is a hard problem. Either one of those is actually valid, it turns out. Yeah, so 3 or negative 1 is the first. Now, we're not thinking about having a negative answer. So let's just get rid of that. So the answer is 3 and then 4 and then 5. Is that not there? I can't even see it anymore. Yeah, 3, 4, 5 is not there. So it's none of the above. After all that work. Yeah. The other way you could have done it, real quick here. Let me end with this. Is you could have just said, look, I'm just going to test this out. Right? Is the sum of the squares of the lower 2, is that equal to the square of the higher one? Is 1 squared plus 2 squared equal to 3 squared, right? The lower 2 squares plus equal to 9. Is that true? 1 plus 4 equal to 9? No. So answer A is wrong. How about the second one? Is 0 squared plus, how about B? Equal to 2 squared? No. 1 does not equal 4. How about C? How about D? No. No. Okay, so it's none of the above. You could have done that. You could have just tested each of them, right? The squares of the first 2 are supposed to equal the square of the bigger one.
You want us to test the test?
Test the test. I like that. All right. Well, that's it. We are done. Let me give you the clicker, and we'll be really done. Whoop, I didn't put the thing in. All right, clicker is open. Click now. A for apple, as usual. We will stop there.